He was going to talk about the efficiency, and this is, I met Bob and his company because I was at my state conference getting my continuing ed this year. So when this all happened was at my state association convention. Remember that snow weekend? Once I arrived there on the Friday morning, I didn't leave until Sunday. I didn't have a change of clothes. I stayed in the same clothes. A buddy of mine had a room. I wasn't planning on staying there, right? But one of my friends had got a room, and he said, well, my wife didn't come. Why don't you stay with me? So I stayed with Dr. Marshall that whole weekend. One of the things that happened was, bless their hearts, the poor vendors who had made the commitment to coming there, they were sitting there, and there weren't that many, there weren't as many doctors there. But what it did is, it gave me some time to talk to these guys. And kind of in a little bit more of a kickback, because I wasn't going there really looking or seriously thinking about the digital x-ray system. But they started to talk about it and say, Dr. Day, you're spending money every month on the company that comes in and maintains your processor, you know, the chemicals and all that sort of stuff. You've got to keep buying the chemicals, you buy the x-ray. While you know, you paid the machine off, you have all this operating cost. That would be gone. You know what I mean? And I go, oh, yeah, that's right. I am paying that big monthly, hundreds and hundreds of dollars every month. It's now gone. It's stopped. And so it helps offset the expense of having this. And it's like, oh, because I hadn't really seriously thought about that until then. And it was because we had a little bit of time to do that. But the efficiency, the 4-second, when I first looked, well, if you think back when digital x-rays were first coming on the scene, you know, several years ago, it would take, you know, a long time to run each x-ray. So I was kind of thinking it's, you know, you take the x-ray and then you got to sit for the, and the image will gradually come and fill in. In 4 seconds, I have that whole image. And the computer will take and tell me, what I love about this is when I take that picture, it will tell me how good of a job I did at picking that technique. Now the neat thing is, I only have to measure your thickness. And the computer already calculates out how it's gonna set. But then when that x-ray is taken, I then get a reading that it was green, yellow, or red. And it tells me if that was a good, was everything aimed right, is everything good? And so I get feedback after every x-ray. And I find I want them all to be green. I'm not there yet, but I don't know how it's gauging me, but we're gonna figure that out, right? And I'm gonna so when I take an x-ray, I want it not only to show what I want it, but I want it to be a beautiful x-ray in terms of how much exposure it took to get that picture, and probably I assume that what happens is the computer has to take the image and make it, and if it has to do a lot to make it usable, then I didn't do so good. You know what I mean? So it'll be fun for me to kind of learn how that all works, but that's one of the exciting things. I've never had that before. The other thing he was going to talk about was better for the environment. Do you guys realize that, and we were talking a little bit with Lois here about her background in dentistry, but all of us who have these processors or dunk tanks, whatever we use for x-rays, guess where that water goes? Right down the drain. And so I'm buying gallons and gallons and gallons of fixer, hardener, all this sort of stuff, and it has to stay fresh enough that it still develops the films, right? So it flushes and it circulates and it does all this sort of stuff, and in the process, down the drain it goes. So one of the neat things for us is this will mean we're not contributing to the stream, you know, the chemicals and things that goes into the wastewater and all that sort of stuff. So we're really quite excited about that. Plus, I mean, all those x-rays that have to be destroyed and recycled and all that sort of stuff, none of that will be there anymore. So it's on a hard drive, a RAID array of a server. So that's kind of cool. So now the generator, what I was thinking that I would do is I would just show the parts of this thing, and then I can take some questions and we can go in the back and see. But since we've got some tight schedules here tonight, I was thinking, well, why don't I took some pictures here of this so you can kind of see the parts of this thing. So this is the generator right here, and essentially when we talk about the tube, this is where the x-rays are coming, and they're coming right out of this thing. Now behind here, okay, this white box thing, this thing that I've got, that is sitting there, and that's where the power goes into there, and then the big cords go into there, they go to the generator. But that's where that's where the x-ray is coming from, and in the new suite we have that backed up into the corner. And that's part of what has given us so much more of that room availability, is we've been able to put it back there, which is just, I love how much more efficient with our time is. Now this is the sensor right here. So this thing, there are wires, and you'll notice that there are wires, these wires here, they go down to the floor and they'll run around to the back to my, and then I've got a big screen there, all right? So do you notice the dimensions? And this is one of those marvelous, some might say serendipitous, but I would say I believe providential. I think God knew that this is going to be something that's going to be really precious to me. But I did not realize that that plate was 17 inches by 17. Do you know what the dimensions of the cassettes are that I've used all these years? 17 high, but 14 wide. And I put people and I'm measuring, you know, I'm trying to get low back exercises. I want to look at your pelvis. I want to see how it is, but I would only have 14 inches. I didn't know that I would now have 17.
That's huge.
I can now see, so when I take your low back x-ray, I can go all the way out, I can see where your hips hook in. It's just, and it's like, it's one of those things that I'm just so happy with. It's like, oh my goodness. And it was, you know, that they knew that, but I'd never heard that. You know, it was one of those things, and when I saw that, I just about cried. It was just, it's one of those things that you don't know you're missing until you have it, because I never thought it was even possible. It would just never enter my mind, and it's just such an incredible thing. So, since we are digital and all computer-based, so we actually have 2 computers back there to make this happen. And what's really interesting is, I thought that when you have a digital system, that the most expensive part was going to be the actual x-ray itself. But interestingly, the part of it that is the digital aspect of it is more expensive than the x-ray part of it. So we have a brand new x-ray, and it costs more to make this the digital aspect of it work, because between the sensor and then all the computers, we're running 2 different. We've got a workstation in the back, and then we've also got a server, a RAID array, so because you have to have redundant servers and all that sort of stuff. But this thing here is this is a little computer, and this thing is connected to the big screen. So when we go into taking an x-ray mode, there's a picture of a person here, kind of in red, because we have to pick parts. So we pick, like say we're going to take your neck, for instance. So we have to tell the computer what views are we going to take. And so we're going to take the lateral, so we'll take lateral cervical, and we'll take AP open mouth, AP cervical thoracic, and then we'll tell we're going to take 2 lumbar. So we're going to have a sequence, and we tell the computer we're going to take those 5 pictures, we're going to go in this order, and so we can just go chunk, 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 chunk down. So we tell the computer what part of the body, and then it will start. It'll send me one at a time. We just go. So lateral cervical, boom, that stays black. That half stays black until I take the button, press the button, take the picture, and then that picture will show up, boom, right there for me within 4 seconds. And it's just so this little thing here, we just have to set up. So let's say we say neck or cervical spine, and we tell it we're going to take the AP open mouth, and this is how thick the patient is. All the other stuff is filled out. Where before, I would have to, we'd measure, and then we have a technique chart. And so we would have to set kilovolts, MAS. We have to set these things that you can kind of decide. Oh, this person had a lot of muscle, so I want to up the kV a little bit. All that stuff is all. I don't do a thing now. I just tell them how thick the patient is, and the computer takes over and does it. It's just really exciting.